use. If you have any questions regarding this document, you may contact blah, 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 or blah, blah, blah. Now, it's one of these that is probably sent to, you didn't get this?
I looked up by, it's from Lisa Newton. I'll do it in all mail boxes. Just to make sure.
Well, it was, you know, I don't know who she sent it to. I think it was one of these
Yeah.
broadsides, and you can't really tell who got it.
Yeah.
So that's
yeah.
why I
That's
put it on the agenda, and I think, I don't know if I forwarded it.
Excuse me.
So anyway, we'll keep it there until we can see. Highway transfer station, okay, Pinch Hill entry points, the board did meet in a very quick sort of emergency basis last Thursday to review Pinch Hill because we needed to make a decision that day if we were gonna do something,
Guess what it was gonna cost.
because it was gonna cost $1,000 more. So as it turns out, we met
More
with,
than that, actually, wasn't it?
yeah, I don't remember, but anyway, we met with the property owner and who was, you know, willing to cooperate with our wanting to have entry points
Right.
to the field, and we adjusted the entry points accordingly, and there's no additional dollars spent, so it came out well. She did say that at some point they're going to want to empty, she told us that afterwards, they're gonna wanna empty out their compost, something, their manure pit,
I didn't hear that
and
part
that
of the
may
conversation,
require, no, it wasn't, she told me this after.
Okay.
And they
all right.
hadn't, she hadn't thought of that, so I don't know what it may require, but it's not gonna happen right away, it's not gonna happen this year, may not happen next year, so. See
Okay.
this can?
You kicked it, okay, fine. Fair enough, fair enough, okay.
And it was sort of a quick comment she made to me at another meeting we were
Oh,
together, so it
okay.
wasn't, you know, so we weren't
It wasn't
discussing
that,
it,
okay.
so I'm sure if she feels that she wants to discuss it now, she
Oh,
will.
sure.
Right of way on Locust Street, this has to do with our road agent, responding to a request, or a question, I guess, from a resident on the corner of Locust and one of those side streets there, Stevens Court, I think.
Mhm.
And what Tom, our building inspector's recommendation is that the onus of, if they think their right of way is different from what we think it is, it's up to the property owner to
Approved.
approve it apparently, or just approve it.
Hmm.
And that he suggests that we have them sign, they can put the fence up, but he suggests we have them sign something that they've seen our snow policy, and we're not responsible for any
For
damage to
fixing
the
it?
fence.
Okay.
So, that's what, I mean, unless you have another thought, I think that's what's going to
There
happen.
was an email about right-of-ways, was Locust wasn't one of them?
No, she didn't find that one, she was looking, but
I don't remember what.
these are all the new developments sort of that she found.
Jessito, Bucara, South Street, well, South Street's not new, but Heritage, Moses, Car Stop, yeah, you're right, they're all new,
Mostly.
with the exception of that one. Okay.
And Prospect Street, Mr. Brunel, she's gonna send another letter, sort of saying again that, you know, if he thinks it was 13 feet one time, at one point, that he's gonna have to prove it to us, because we think that where we plow is within our right of way. So, I don't know if she was gonna have time to do that letter for today, but it's on her list. And, Michael, you found a gutter draining onto a sidewalk.
I sure did. Drove home Saturday and watched a gentleman putting it in. And drove by today to take a picture. It was raining at the time, so I forwarded those on. You can clearly see the water drains directly onto the sidewalk. It actually sticks out
I saw it.
so far that it's,
Yeah.
part of it actually
Is it the
is in
sidewalk,
the
you think so, with the
sidewalk,
plane of the
yeah.
sidewalk?
Yeah, I didn't get out of the car.
Yeah.
You can see from the photos.
Well,
so.
we'll suggest, I would suggest you follow Caroline, it's
I will.
probably better to have her write and to refer to the
I mean, it can
safety
be-
of public ways. It's an ordinance,
Yeah.
you know, it's an ordinance, so,
It just needs to be bent a different direction, instead of just
So
sticking
it-
straight out into the street.
right, so that it empties into that little
Into the-
garden space
yeah.
of theirs.
Yeah.
All right, camper on South Street, that relates to an issue that happened during the week, I think, when again, Michael,
It has
who was
been
just
removed.
finding all kinds of things this week,
Came
wanna
home to
report
what,
that?
came home to see a camper on South Street, where we've had vehicles that parked in the front in the past, in the town's right of way, up on blocks. Well, it was attached to a pickup truck first, and then when I came back around after reporting it, it was on blocks, with steps leading up to it. And I don't know what if they were planning on living there or not, but maybe, I mean, I don't know. It was removed, the police had it removed, and it's now been replaced by a Ford Expedition. The same vehicle that we had spent quite a while chasing out of there last year.
Oh, okay.
It's
So I
back
did
again.
see that Chief also asked Lieutenant, I think, to
If he
take care of
comes, I'll
that.
ask him about it tonight, so.
Okay.
It's still there.
So we don't know if if the camper moved of its own accord, or whether the lieutenant actually,
I don't know.
yeah, so that would be an
That would
interesting
be a
question.
good question for the
Yeah.
chief. In fact, it was Thursday night, right? The Thursday during the day that I sent the email, we had a meeting Thursday night.
Oh,
Report on later,
yeah,
right?
uh-huh.
The opportunity didn't come up really to ask him, so.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
were talking about other things, so. But anyway.
All right, so, contract services for in-town work, really, that was a question for Chief Ducharme. He was suggesting that the detail work that he's doing and will be doing for Pike not come out of his contracted services, but come out of contingency. And so, I don't know, I think because we ended up doing that last year, but that was because we didn't have a sufficient budget. So
Right.
so certainly it's my inclination to have it come out of contracted services. So I wanted to, I don't know if you feel any differently, but I wanted to review that with him.
Right.
Okay, on to town administration. We don't have anything to sign for the New Hampshire Public Deposit Investment Pool, but I will tell you, I did follow up with our treasurer, Beverly Dion, who agreed with PDIP and that the authorized signatures were as they should be. So I then, based on the meeting last Monday, signed the account
Yeah.
creations and sent that paperwork along. And I had a follow-up call from the gentleman who was doing it sometime Friday afternoon, could have been early afternoon, but I didn't see it until after like 5 o'clock that night. So I waited till this morning to call him, and they said, he doesn't work here anymore.
Oh,
I said, hello, I just talked to him, I mean, I just had a thing, but he got promoted and so I am pursuing, it was just funny, it was disorienting.
Right.
You know, it's like, what? But other than that, we still don't know what his follow-up, he had a couple of loose ends that he wanted to clear up, I don't know what they were, I didn't hear back. So I checked in with our New Hampshire contact, Joanne Klatskin, who's been the person who we started this conversation with, and she's out today, so I don't think that the accounts are set up. I did pursue ACH, also, you know, the automated clearinghouse,
right,
the transfer piece.
yeah.
So they need to know how we're gonna, I've set it up for wire transfer, because you don't need anything special for that. But optimally, we're gonna change to ACH. I just need to verify with PDIP that we can call or email to request the transfer, it'll come from them.
Okay.
If we initiate ACH, it costs us money,
Okay.
so.
Well, that was my next question, gonna be, will that benefit us?
ACH?
ACH going to the retirement system.
Yes, it does, but it's expensive.
Okay.
And so
Well, it
we
may not be a benefit then.
would need to get to some tipping point.
Right.
And we would need to have somebody, you, me, someone, figure out what that tipping point might be from a cost-benefit analysis. So, I did talk to Citizens Bank, and the woman who manages the municipal thing, and she sent us, it's like $60-some odd, and I think that's per transaction. Per ACH. It's based on our account balance and those kinds of things, you know, $60 is.
There's one thing for the larger projects that we're talking about. but-
Yes, and if they were like one time, if they were small in number and
Quarter
whatever,
retirement
maybe,
system payment is-
but, exactly. And she said herself, you know, I wouldn't advise you to use it for
Yeah,
retirement, it's
no.
not, it's not enough
Scratch
cost
that.
benefit. So, you know, other things that we've talked about that would benefit from ACH is, you know, like a one-check payment for DMV stuff. And ACH, she just fills something out, and then there's an ACH transfer to the state. So, but again, you know, those are small, they're all small kinds of
Yeah.
transfers, and so, if we did our payroll if we did our own payroll, we would likely have started to use ACH to do direct deposit. Well, we don't do it, we pay somebody else to do it, so right now, it's hard to make a case for our adopting, ACH. Which is, just for minutes, capital A, capital C, capital H, and it's automated clearinghouse.
Yeah.
Okay. Treasurer's report, I don't know if there were any questions on that, our cash flow is as we thought,
We
and we'll be
expect.
fine until cash starts pouring in June. We had a question from Jody during the week about making town hall available for a softball league group on like tomorrow night,
All right.
I think. And I said, yes, if it's a town, it's part of the rec committee. And it wasn't part of the rec committee. And I said, well, in that case, we need to talk about whether we're gonna open it up for nonprofit groups. And so so I was hoping she would be here, so we'll keep it on the agenda for when she comes back. But if you do it for one,
Right, I
So-
imagine you could do it for others. but-
right, and if it's the winter time and you're heating the building or you're using lights or, So I did suggest the library and the grade school as other possibilities for community events.
We have hosted, I think we've hosted nonprofits in this room before, but you have
Have
to
we?
have someone, I don't know. We should maybe check in with Beverly, she would remember if we have or not. The question is then who opens the building, who's responsible, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
And there's more of a mechanism in places like the library and
yeah, they're set up for,
the grade
now,
school
the
has,
grade school.
has a means to do that
Yeah.
as well. That's not saying we couldn't do it, we couldn't develop it, but.
sure, but I don't think we have a policy, and so I responded in that way and said I'd put it on the agenda so we could talk about it. And so we'll table it until she gets back, or
Okay.
maybe next week.
Sure.
The two of you could have
Talk
a
about it next week.
conversation. All right, the MS4 permit, I sent out the draft that I had written, and so this is it, I got no comments, and so
I'm sorry.
somewhere, well, that's good news, as far as I'm
Yes.
concerned. Somewhere I think is the cover letter, so when we come to it, we'll
Okay.
sign the cover letter, at least I hope it's in there. Review legal priorities, I apologize, I have not put down the list of how we started and what we may have added, but there is a new issue that, Michael, we'll need to talk about, that if we want to refer this to legal, and that is, the board was asked by Attorney Shaheen on behalf of Mr. Lavoy, I don't remember his first name right at the moment, Jason Lavoy, for all of our communication correspondence. It looked like a right to know, even though it didn't reference the RSA. And so, my thought is, when somebody ramps up and uses legal, it's probably to our,
I would think it would be to our advantage to refer to our legal counsel.
yeah, all right, then I'll ask Caroline to do that tomorrow morning. Okay.
No, Mr. Lavoy's consultant, Mr. Conley, has sent new communication to the planning board chairman, myself, and a few others on the planning board for a new plan for development on Shady Lane, proposed development on Shady Lane as well. And I believe Mr. Krebs, our planning consultant, is letting them know that they would need to file a new application because it's their prior one that they had
Expired?
has expired.
Okay. All right, so that's a planning.
So I don't know if this is associated, I mean,
Yeah,
it's all
it's interesting
associated
timing,
with
it's
that
coincidental, yeah.
property. I'm not trying to cast aspersions or motive or anything, I'm just saying it's all relative to that
Yeah.
lot over on Shady Lane.
Okay, thank you. Dog waste downtown, I didn't have time, nor will I have time to talk to 4-H. Did you have any update on the vet and the signs?
No, I was gonna go over and talk to Dr. Mike. I was waiting though to see if there's gonna be another group that wants to outreach or,
Yeah,
so when I go talk to him about it, let him know that. I mean, he said he's willing to buy a few signs, I'll go
Yeah.
talk to him.
yeah,
So I have to go tomorrow to get some pills for my dog anyway, so. Well, then we'll take him up on the offer.
okay.
But, although, that being said, we have a lead on who we believe is the phantom pooper,
Oh,
shall we say.
okay,
And
and,
it's associated with the same property that has a truck parked in front of it at the moment.
the plot thickens.
Our neighbors have seen them and followed them, because they haven't picked up and followed them back to their residence. So I don't have a description of the person, so.
Okay, well, I
But the
don't-
police will have it soon, I hope.
All right, good. Projects, the culvert project and the easements, oh God, I love those easements. So, we have an agreement with Mr., it's not Point.
St. Lawrence.
St. Lawrence, thank you so much, but he hasn't come in yet to notarize. And
Okay.
also, the offer letter that we signed last week is not correct, the amount is correct and everything, but it must have been an old version left over in here, because the one, it should have the easement person from HDA signature and my signature already on it, because when he came
Oh,
that
right,
day,
right.
we signed it. And so, once he comes in with the notarized easement and that offer letter, then the board will sign it.
Let's see.
The board will sign it. I'm just
I see.
signed there as a witness to Betsy Boziak's signature,
I got you.
so.
The details aren't changing.
No, the details are not changing, it's still $500. Now, the Morgan Adams property,
Right.
that, there's a continuing saga there. He's really thought the offer was too low for a permanent easement. He's talked to realtor friends. He thinks it's a stain and may make it difficult for him to sell. So Hoyle Tanner is suggesting, look, the culvert doesn't empty there, it's okay if we go for a temporary construction easement, sort of like what we did on Partridge Lane.
Okay.
And so we never offered anybody money for a temporary easement, so Caroline is going to talk to the Morganellis about a temporary construction easement
Huh?
at a cost.
But just that one little piece, that's fine by me.
Yeah, it is, it's a little section. So that's the easements. Ann Getchell, who is our contact at USDA, is waiting to hear from our bond counsel with the preliminary, what she calls bond counsel script, before she will issue the go-ahead for Hoyle Tanner to do the bids. So our bids are still being held up.
Just because of that.
I think just because of that, I mean, there were some other, like it would be better to have the PDIP accounts fully set up, but I don't think that would stop it.
So while you're away, she's gonna communicate with all of us so we can take care of it?
That's what I have said to everybody. I started
I saw
sending
that.
letters out last week saying you've got to talk to the board, make
Right.
sure you know,
Right,
because I am not
right.
around for a number of weeks, so they, Kennebunk Savings Bank, USDA, the Municipal Bond Bank. As far as I know, anything ongoing like that, they have in fact been notified. Town hall drainage. So I raised a question when I read the contract about Saturdays, and is June 30th too soon for them to complete it? Because we're starting with it. So I don't know if Caroline touched base with them, I didn't see anything. I don't know if they'll have a contract. But if you don't have a contract, it should come to us Monday, I hope, next Monday. So that's what that project is. In the transfer station, we're just waiting for, I think, some more quotes on concrete pads.
Okay.
And once they're, I think Pike has not yet signed the contract, but Caroline, I gave Caroline another copy, so she sent it on to Pike. So they should be scheduling that at some point reasonably soon, the asphalt work.
Right.
And I don't know I don't know about the timing of the pads and the asphalt, if one should come before the other, but I'm sure Jeff is thinking about all of that. Copying and scanning, Jody was going to be mulling that over and maybe putting some figures together, so we will table that until she is with us again.
Okay.
John Krebs, when I was here this morning, Sarah McLaughlin came in, and, we're trying to get the zoning ordinances online.
Right.
And so I said, tell me again what's holding this up. So,
It's a map, isn't
well, we're gonna just put a link or reference, if you need to see this map, do such and such. So we're not gonna hold it up for that
it?
map
Okay.
or the floodplain, because we have floodplain information, we'll just put a link to that.
Okay.
And I said, what I'm concerned about is to make sure that, it's been proved. And she says, well, I've proved it several times. She says, that's not the problem. The problem is actually substantive.
Okay.
Somebody should review it for the substance to make sure, somebody who might know if it was an action that hasn't been reflected, or, do you know what I mean?
So someone with a little more institutional than
exactly.
so that's John.
Well, that was a suggestion that either Caroline or I had,
Which is probably a pretty good one.
you know. I mean, you know, the former chair had said that he would do it, and it just never rose to the top, and so I think at this point, John Krebs is as much,
John, in all honesty, probably should have done it anyways, but.
so I'm asking if that's okay, and we'll
I
have
think
Caroline
it's-
then get in touch with him. Okay, good.
And it'll still fit within
Oh,
the
absolutely,
scope, because we
yeah.
don't have, we have a few minor site reviews in the next month, but.
I think we will be good too, I don't think we have a problem. Because the faster we get up there, the better it is for all of us, because it's one of a big sink on Caroline's time.
Yeah. And once that can be completed, we need to get printed copies for the planning board members.
No, yeah, that would be fine. I'm not familiar with this next one, Michael, I'm hoping you are. John Krebs authorized to
Oh,
reach
yeah.
out to
So-
planning applicant.
It's a, we'd like Mr. Krebs to have a conversation with Mr. Conlon about the need for a new application. And it really should come from John, so he can explain the process to the applicant.
Okay, so will you
I
so will
think
you
it's in
carry
our
the ball on
yes,
this?
I think it's in our best interest to have our employee doing that.
Okay, and you'll make sure that that happens? Okay, thank you, Mike, appreciate it. Unless you know anything, there's no update on the housing tax exemption for New Hope.
Yeah.
The rec committee, our rec committee colleague is not here. Anything about the,
We had a meeting scheduled for Thursday, but it's been postponed.
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
okay,
Either way, it's not happening, so probably for the best, because I couldn't remember the date.
okay, policies and procedures, we're still in the process of reviewing the welfare. And we're at the end of our,
Perfect.
end of that, so we're down to our folders. I know that Tom is away this week, I think, so I don't know if they're building.
There are some in here. All right, well, we'll do this last. I need to get a stamp for
Oh, is it a septic?
septic, so
Okay.
we'll do that one last, so I can go get it. Use a numerical order if possible. All right, so the first one's gonna be 2017 -021. It is 20 Stevens Court.
Is that the
I
fence,
think so.
the fence people?
Fence people, I think, let's see, no, it's not. Well, actually, it is the same property, I believe. Hold on. They're repairing their heating system, and they're doing some demolition. I think it's the same property, actually. They're, they're taking off a dormer, it looks like, and putting a new one on. So there's demolition and new construction, so Tom's refuted though, and he's
He's taking care of whatever the
Yeah,
inconsistencies are?
There doesn't seem to be any actually, so, the fee would be $225. He believes that the dollar amounts are consistent with the level of
Oh,
work,
okay.
is what I'm trying to say, and
All right,
I'm
thank
not being
you.
terribly articulate this evening, sorry. But it's, yeah, so it's granted. For you. Next one's 2017 -046 195 Goodwin Road.
Want to see?
It is, oh, it's electrical, sorry. And it has been reviewed by Mr. Clark, the fee is $90. Okay. It's actually less than, it's 9 to review the larger two fees, in case you're wondering. All right, next is 2017 -047 37 Rollins Road.
Is that one one of the ones we were?
Mm-hmm.
Paving,
I think it is.
Mr. Clark has reviewed it and agrees with the dollar amount, and it is $45 fee.
Mm-hmm. That's one of them.
That one, we have, good, excuse me, 2017-049, also 195 Goodwin Road. This one's HVAC work, and the fee is $115. They're installing a new heating pump behind the home. What that means, what Mr. Clark does, he's reviewed it, and it's,
Heat pump,
it is a heating pump, okay.
heat pump.
It does say heat
Sort of
pump.
like what I have on mine.
Yeah, okay, now it makes sense. If I'm reading what it says, it is. Okay, anyways,
That's this one.
so. That. And the last one we have is 2017-050. It's 23 Wentworth Street, also known as Lot 2. It's plumbing work for one of the new properties. Fee is $95. It's also been reviewed by Mr. Clark. Guess like those are the same these days, but anyways. And if you indulge me, I'll go get that stamp real quick and we'll
Yep.
finish up, so
Okay.
finish that up real quick. Alright, so septic design plans for, also reviewed by Mr. Clark for 216 Summersworth Road.
Yes. So you're shaking
And
your
we're
head.
done with that folder, anyways.
Okay. So, the first thing I see in this folder is a riddle to me. It's an
Good, good.
authorization for payment. I leave the town of Rollinsford, but it has a Jesse Doe address. Give my permission to the Primex New Hampshire Public Management Exchange Boat Place to issue an advance payment directly to Wayne Shalou.
This could be for the
Oh, so this is
For the
the accident?
550, yeah,
And instead of running it through us and we'd have to pay for it, they're paying for it directly?
directly to them? To
I'm-
the- to
I'm
the
gonna-
dealer?
That's what I think too, but I'm gonna leave that with you,
Okay,
and I would authorize you to sign that in,
Okay. I'll
if
check
that, if you
tomorrow.
check with Caroline and that's what it turns out to be,
okay,
okay?
okay.
So as long as we
Sure,
both
that's what
agree
it
that you
is.
should be authorized to sign it, if that's what it is, then,
It says it right here. It's for supplemental repairs to the Rollinsford Department of Public Works 2008 GMC's
oh, okay,
6500.
all right, I didn't read it all the way then. Okay,
So it's
so,
not the 550, it's the next one up that got hit. So, remember the door got bent in?
somewhat, I don't keep track of all these accidents.
We've had a few
We've
accidents
had
this
a
winter.
few, all right,
So
so
that's
we're okay
for-
with my signing?
Yes,
Okay.
please, I would think you want to get that taken care
Yes.
of.
Okay, very good. Then here's a letter to a Mr. Henry Brandt in Portsmouth, and it is
Oh, is that one of
the
Brian's
water
properties?
discharge
Oh,
on
Yeah.
547 Main Street.
yeah,
So it is a standard letter, I'm gonna read it, then you can read it.
yeah.
Well, I'll just read it out loud. It's come to our attention that water is being discharged from the property on 547 Main Street and is flowing onto the sidewalk. Water discharge is not allowed under ordinance 1501, safety of public ways. We must redirect the water flow off public streets and sidewalks immediately. The fine allowable under the ordinance is $100 daily. We've asked the Rollinsford Police Department to provide you with notification and are providing written notification herewith. If you wish to discuss this matter with the board meets every Monday at 6:30, except for holidays.
Good, works for me.
And a copy is being sent to Chief Duchon.
Yep.
Okay. This is, I'm hoping that I find a cover letter that goes, we can put with that. Okay, so here is a letter addressed to Mr. Shaheen. Sheehan, thank you. Thank you, a little dyslexic there.
That's all right, close.
Sheehan. One's Irish,
Irish,
one's,
one's
yeah,
Lebanese,
one's
yeah.
Lebanese, yeah.
Close though.
We received notice from the road agent that you were looking into installing a fence in your property. We feel obliged to warn you that the burden of proof regarding property boundaries and proper fence location is on the property owner. The town cannot advise property owners about fence locations. We understand that you intend to meet with Mr. St. Jean in order to discuss possible fence locations. We encourage dialogue between our town officials and residents and try to assure best outcomes. However, any conversation between you and Mr. St. Jean does not imply any liability on behalf of the town for any damage that may happen to your fence due to snow removal procedures. Enclosed is a copy of the town snow removal policy for your reference. Mr. St. Jean can discuss snow removal procedures with you as they relate to your property. However, as stated in the policy, the town will not be held liable for damage due to property within the road right of way. We encourage you to acquaint yourself with the enclosed policy and let us know if you have any questions.
Okay,
All right,
that's
I'm
the
ready.
fence on Stevens Court?
That's the one on Stevens Court, yeah.
Okay.
Dear Mr. Brunel,
Well, apparently she wrote all these letters, okay.
this letter is a follow-up to your visit to the select board on May 8th. We understand that you believe the right-of-way on Prospect Street may have changed at some point. Fortunately, we have no record of this at the town office. You may indeed be correct. However, under such circumstances, the burden of proof is on the property owner. If you should find reference to a public town document or letter which you may have received to that effect, which may prove what you believe, we will be happy to consider that. We will be happy to consider that. Until that time, we consider this matter closed. We apologize for the frustration and inconvenience this has caused you. What do you think?
A little curt.
It is a little curt, a little, yes. Do you want, would you like to wordsmith it on?
I don't know, okay, just see.
Yes. I mean, it'll have to wait, which is fine. All right, we'll look at this. This is non-public,
Okay.
so we'll have to wait. Aha, cover letter.
Why don't we, let's hold that until next week.
Yeah.
Why don't we just take this?
Yeah, that's a good idea. So we have to go into non-public.
At the end? Okay.
Yes, something from, it
Just so I
has to
know
do
what
with
this is.
credits, tax credits. Yes,
Okay.
yeah. So we've heard from Avatar, I don't know what it says, but it's about tax credits or veterans credits or things like. All right, here's the cover letter for the MS4 general permit. It has me as the contact person, and I certify the penalty of law that this document and all attachments, which is the report that we worked on, that it's true and blah, blah, blah. So I'm ready to sign my life away.
It seems accurate to me, but you're signing it,
Thank you, Michael.
so I'm here for you.
Yeah.
Baking cakes. No files.
No files. We have Post-its, just
No.
curious. She'll know if I didn't sign the ones that Mr. Brunel did.
I can
It
get
needs
one
some
more
work.
week when I carry things in, that's
All right, so this is all ready to rock and roll. This one is Shaheen, not Sheehan.
fine. Whatever them should be.
Yes, and so this is the, it was written to the planning board chair. Please be advised that I represent Mr. and Mrs. Jason LaVoy regarding their ongoing issues with the town of Rollinsford to obtain a subdivision permit. Please consider this a request for a complete copy of the LaVoy's file, including but not limited to any notes, memos, correspondence, or phone records. It is my understanding from speaking with Mr. LaVoy that on or about November 2nd, 2015, he exchanged emails with Patrick Macklin. At that time, Mr. LaVoy was informed by Mr. Macklin, quote, "From my perspective, you can go ahead and hire a surveyor and start developing a plan. As long as you follow the zoning ordinances and the subdivision regs, you should be good," end quote. Since this email exchange, my clients have spent in excess of $17,000 to get a single lot out of their property. I find this unconscionable, the voice is simply frustrated with the delay. It's my hope that this matter can be resolved without any further delay. I look forward to talking with you in the near future. It was addressed to the PB chair. And so that's what we are referring to legally. So this is a letter from Comcast. This is our Comcast letter, this is not new. Our legal counsel is pursuing it. I think these are all, this is DOT.
This is all.
Yeah. So,
Let's see the Brunel letter again, let me just look at it
the
again.
what?
The Mr. Brunel's letter, maybe we can just do it. Just read it again, just in case.
Here.
Does it seem, consider the matter closed curt to you, or does it seem? I'm not sure.
Look,
I can
I,
fi-
clearly
I'm
I
not sure
have
if
a
I can
soft
figure
spot
out-
in my heart, right, about this whole issue.
I'm not sure if I can find another way.
Not
to
that I
say it
would
than-
decide to do anything differently, but, you know, it's, I would say, the other thing that's not there that we should add anyway, is that remember he talks about the police report, and we asked Chief Ducharme, there is a police report, it says nothing about who,
Maybe we should put that in.
yeah, and I think that would be important to add,
So she'll know that I'm writing on there.
yeah. And she can get the particulars from Chief Ducharme if she would like, but I mean, he said that there's nothing in the report about it being caused, the accident being caused by our plow. So I think that's worthy of being added to that letter.
I don't know what that means. Okay.
Okay?
I'll just put that back in again.
All right.
We'll work on that with it.
Well, we're done with our agenda, so let me just check with community input, anybody?
Just a quick question. I've fielded a couple of emails about checks not clearing for the rec committee. Do I need to take that up with the board or with your secretary?
I think that's an administrative thing.
Check's not clearing, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, do you know,
One came in at town meeting, so March 18th, and as of Mother's Day, they still had not received it cleared. And one came in,
so
3 or
that,
4
so
weeks.
we're not cashing the checks, right? Yeah, so, yeah, I don't know where the checks are.
Well, let me back up. So it's not that the check didn't clear, like there was insufficient funds. It's
We
that
haven't
it has not been
deposited the
cashed.
checks.
Deposit, yeah, mine only got deposited because we bought some of those t-shirts at town meeting, or my wife did. And the check got cashed maybe a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, maybe the rec
Well,
committee,
somebody who gave us a check the same day that you did, they had not seen their check clear the bank
I
yet.
see.
so how did this, I'm sorry, somebody remind me how this first came up, because this is, I did hear something about this. I mean, talk to Caroline, I would say talk to Caroline.
I referred the first case to her. but-
Yes,
I don't know who, Jody might be able to help too. I don't know who even holds the checks.
I don't know the process, so, I don't know the process, so
I know.
Caroline would be the person to ask. Because she'd be in the position to hunt it down too, to know
Right.
where it gets stopped.
Okay.
Anything else,
Not from me.
Charlie?
I went out to Pinch Hill to see the entrance right by Sligo,
Yeah, pinch out.
near Pinch Hill. And I was surprised to see a culvert in that last one. I thought you guys decided not to put a culvert in.
We did.
There's one,
There was one that was there, there is one,
there was an existing one that got moved down,
Yeah,
right? But
yes.
we weren't gonna put new ones in.
yeah.
Well, it's right as you turn on to pinch
We
out.
did not
from
authorize a new
Sligo.
culvert.
Well,
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
No,
there's no,
it had to have been one that got, an existing one that was being
Yeah.
replaced, because we're not putting new ones in.
Well, I was assuming that that was the spot where Jeff was concerned about.
It's the one
He's
right by,
concerned about the traffic there.
Correct.
But that's not the situation, that's not the site where we were talking about,
The culvert was,
it was but closer to Jalbert's.
yeah, across from Jim
Okay.
Albert's house.
Because okay, then that culvert
And
was
what we
the one that
decided
might
was
have been
just to
moved.
have an entry point like
Yeah, and
yours.
with gravel, right,
Yes,
it wasn't
yeah, no different from
from what's
the
there
others.
now.
Yeah.
I stopped by on Thursday night and the doors were locked. Could you please give us an update on the police meeting?
Yes, I was gonna do that anyway, and I apologize, Nancy said the same thing. It was
didn't do
unlocked when
that.
we all came in, because that's how we got in. We apologize, we're assuming, I don't know, I'm gonna ask the town clerk. I think she must have just locked it sort of out of
Habit.
habit, I don't think, definitely weren't trying to keep anyone out. And it was recorded, so. The police, Space Needs Committee met, we skipped over our
We
activities.
did, I realized, that's, yes,
And we had a great first meeting, you know, we discussed some of the potential lots and some of the design builds. If we were gonna choose that evening, what we would prefer to see, because we had 3 or 4 quotes from different types of construction firms. Some that would create concrete structures, some that
Mhm.
would be prefabricated walls that would just be put up, some that would be modular, and one that was stick-built, I think, or if we haven't received that, it's forthcoming. The opinion of the group that evening was that the concrete structure would be more secure, had better energy ratings, a whole plethora of reasons why we'd want it. It was
Mhm.
also one of the least expensive compared to some of the others, and more least expensive in the sense that it was sort of more sort of soup to nuts design. There was, we'd still need to furnish it and that sort of thing, but a lot of the other designs were more piecemeal,
mhm,
and you still have to pay for fittings and things like that within the building. It was literally just a shell of the building. This would include landscaping, that sort of thing. It was a very comprehensive design. But, and we're going out to look at
Oh, good.
the sites. There doesn't seem to be much desire to go out by board members to go look at Turcot Field. Most people are of the opinion that it would cost too much to lay a road out there. But I think that for those that still think it's a viable option, we should go look at it. And I'll be happy to go with anyone who wants to look at it.
sure, and even if it, you know, it would be interesting just to have an opinion about, can we use it as a land swap?
We discussed that briefly too, and we'll look at that again. I think that at the moment, the consensus is that we would want to have a site that's very visible, and that would be Silver Street. We talked about Rollins Road, where Quarter Store was a very long time ago. Howard Hammond reminded us, and you can go look at it now, that it's a very, very wet site. It retains a lot of water when it rains, so it might not be the best place suitable
Mhm.
for building. What else? Oh, and my notes. The board, the ad hoc group would like to suggest to the select board that a survey of Silver Street should be completed, regardless of whether or not we're going to use it for this project, or if we're going to sell it to purchase something else, some other piece of property in town, or to sell it to finance a building on the Turcot Field, or some other site that's swapped for that property. It still needs to be surveyed. I said, okay, we'd be happy to bring that forward. Bob has said that he can absorb that in his budget under, think of what line, I wish he were here so he could tell us.
That's okay, I mean, just,
One of the
even
lines
if
associated with the officer, because he's starting later, starting the
Oh,
academy
okay,
later,
yeah.
patrolman.
yeah,
I think what line it was.
you know, depending on the cost, you know,
I told him that it would be in our best benefit to probably use Cardigan Mountain,
yeah,
because they have been the most
they,
reasonable.
they have been.
Told him to figure anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000.
Yeah,
Maybe
minimum
more.
probably, yeah, because, I mean, we just had one side of the garden club, it was whatever it was 1400?
Yeah, well,
So,
we
they're
want,
expensive.
we wanna talk to them, but
Yeah.
they're the most reasonable of the ones we've gone after, right, that we've sought services, so.
Yes, they have. So, yeah, I think the board would definitely consider doing that.
So I think what the chief would like is for us to authorize them to,
You can get a quote.
get quotes.
Yes, absolutely,
So
yeah.
I would move
Yeah.
that, if that's, we can report back to them that he's authorized to get
Yes.
quotes, and then come back to us
Yes.
while authorizing.
I think we can do that by consensus, they
Okay, I'll let
authorize
him
the
know.
quote, so, yeah, that's, we're
Okay,
not committing anything. So.
right.
Yeah, that's a great idea, thank you.
And we're gonna, we're
And so
meeting
let's talk
again-
about activities, because I did, as
Alright,
you
fair
said.
enough. We're meeting again on this coming Thursday, the 18th.
Oh,
I need to
okay.
have Caroline notice that, so I don't forget.
Yes.
We're going up to a tour of, sites, we're doing sidewalks, basically,
Yeah.
we're gonna go look at Silver
That's
Street.
fine, good, I hope it's not a rainy day.
We'll see, I'm wearing boots, so I don't know.
Someone else told me that the lot of Rollins was very wet.
Yeah, Howard was intrigued, but then, he thought more about it, because, the roof is really wet out there, and it's really a bad idea, so.
I mean, there's no drain, I mean, I'm just
Yeah, and then, we said,
drainage
well,
or,
the conversation.
Put it up on
was-
stilts, I
could
don't
we- Like those ones in South Carolina, right, up on stilts.
yeah,
There's also no utilities there.
correct.
Well, there's
Correct.
electricity, but there's no water, there's no
Right.
sewer, we wouldn't be running them under the railroad tracks.
You know, my concern about Silver Street was just the room for growth.
Right,
You know, you don't wanna, things change,
right.
You know,
Fair enough.
requirements change, and I just fear about being hemmed in there, but that's my concern about Silver
Bob
Street.
did present, we have to speak of the devil in here. I've just called you the devil, chief, and not in a bad way, though. We were just talking about you.
My ears were burning.
I said,
Come on
speak of the
up,
devil
come
when
on
he
up.
appears. We're just talking about the Silver Street location, the meeting we had last week.
Yes.
And the board has authorized you to get bids for surveys. And then we'll have to come back and accept whether or not we want to spend the money. But the concept, we want it to happen, so. On Silver Street, sorry.
Do you have stuff for
Want more than
us?
two?
Pardon?
You want more than two?
No, that's sufficient.
Because we have two.
Yeah, the 2 quotes for surveys?
You have them already?
Well, we have in writing from
Okay.
Cardigan,
You do, okay.
and as I mentioned at the meeting, Paul Conley said between 3,000 and 3,500.
And.
So Cardigan is $2,350.
Yeah, I would say do a purchase order then and have the board review it next week. Do you have it now?
Of course.
Prepared.
Well then,
You just made it too, we were just.
yeah, we were like getting ready to go into
We're
non-public.
flying in tonight. We're flying in. All right, I'll move purchase order number 1,200 to Cardigan Mountain Surveying for one survey of the former town shed lot at 472 Silver Street for $2,350.
I second,
And the chief will tell you what line
and
it's
it's
gonna come
gonna
out of.
come out of what line?
The Patrolman Creek?
I can't remember which one it was, I think it was on the patrol.
Well, that's where the budget dollars are coming out of. So,
Professional services.
yeah, it's professional services. So we'll take it out of professional services right now, and if at some point in the future we need to grab some budget
That's
money
fine.
from you,
That's fine.
let me just make that note.
Excuse me.
Okay, professional services. All right, any other questions or comments? I will call the motion then, all those in favor say aye.
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 If we're meeting again on Thursday, are you planning on seeing Caroline at all tomorrow for anything? Did you mention that we noticed the meeting? I haven't, I mean, I can send her an email if you're gonna see her. I mean, that conduit, she's not here tonight, so.
You actually have a contract to sign?
I see that,
There-
I just
there-
brought
There are
it,
2 copies.
okay. All right, so we authorized the purchase order. If you want to just take a quick look, I'll take a quick look at it too.
To get a commission. I referred Cardigan Mountain, I need a commission.
You read it already?
$500 retainer and then the rest
Work
goes.
schedule, payment schedule. Okay, well, then I'll ask for a motion from me to sign the, well, we're gonna both sign, we're all
We're
both
both
gonna sign
signing
it,
it,
so
so-
we'll just sign it. So the record can say that we show that we were both signing the contract. Okay. I'll leave these in here unless you wanna bring them to Caroline directly tomorrow. She'll put,
Want to throw the purchase order, the
Oh,
surrender?
okay,
Hey, about 5 weeks ago, as part of a criminal investigation, we seized 1 cockatoo, 7 cockatiels, and 2 chinchillas, and brought them to Cachico Valley Humane Society, as the animals were neglected. And they have in kind sent us a bill for $375 for their care. However, we are going to request that from the court. We have since arrested the person that was responsible for the neglect. And if she is found guilty, then certainly we will ask for reimbursement to the town of Rollinsford in that amount. So I have purchase order number 1203, made out to the Cachico Valley Humane Society for $375.
just, well, let's move it and I'll ask the question.
Move purchase order number 1203, Chico Valley Humane Society for impound fees for 1 cockatoo, 7 cockatiels, and 2 chinchillas for $375.
I'll second that. So we're using Cochico Valley because Canine Chaos doesn't do,
They do not take those animals, correct?
as I was remembering the name of the place, I go, okay, I think I know the answer.
I don't know what chinchillas classified as, to the
They're-
vermin.
Yeah, I think probably is a fancy one, but nonetheless.
You think they're vermin?
Well, it's sort of like a mink, but they're sort of like a,
I told they make nice pets, but
you have to take care of them.
Destructive though.
Yes, you
All right.
we take care of it.
So I think I did second the question, so I'll call.
Sure.
All those in favor say aye.
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 It's unfortunate. that,
It is. It's
They were
always
mistreated.
unfortunate. Okay. Do you want it back or do you want it in here?
I'll take that back. I'll just submit it with a, it's time to renew our annual training contract with Police One. So the yearly subscription is $936. And the purchase order number 1191, made out to Police One, in the amount of $936, come out of line item number 715, pro development.
Excuse me.
That's an anticipated expense.
Move purchase order number 1191 to Police One for a 1 yearly subscription to Police One Academy for $936.
A second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, purchase number 1201 made out to Two-Way Communications. We need to add the UNH police frequency to 3 of our portables, so that we can have contact with them when we're working the details over there. And I got that for $150, and that will come out of line number 287, radio repair.
Move purchase order number 1201, Two-Way Communications for 3 frequency changes to 3 portable radios for $150.
A second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Last item, purchase number 1202 made out to Accutel Incorporated out of Newington. The video system apparently froze back on March 2nd of this year, so a service call was initiated. And then they were back here again last week, May 8th. The system froze up again. So I'm estimating $175 per service call for a total of $350. That will come from the Town Hall Building Maintenance Fund.
Move purchase order number 1202 to Accutel Incorporated for service calls, 2 service calls, for the amount of $350.
A second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 In regards to the video system, I had sought proposals from 3 different companies to replace the existing system or upgrade it or modify it, or whatever they think that's necessary downstairs. So hopefully sometime in the next couple of weeks we'll have
So
something.
this is relative to the warrant article that we
Correct.
passed,
Right, correct.
which I was gonna ask you about based on this thing. So you've got that in motion, and the other one was the communication at the,
The repeater system, right.
Repeater
We're
system.
still waiting to hear back from the grant,
okay,
so.
all right.
The coffee with the chief went well Saturday. We had 9 folks show up, one reporter, so total of 10 folks. And I hope I didn't say anything that would make the town look bad, because, some folks asked me questions concerning, the national policy on documented versus undocumented, and what our policy was, and Narcan,
Oh, I see.
and our diversification and things like that, so. But
Interesting.
overall, went very well, I think, very well for our first one. Lasted just about over an hour,
Oh, good.
an hour and a half, sorry. Yeah.
And monthly, you're gonna try these monthly or quarterly? I can't remember.
Originally I was gonna do it monthly, but I think I'll do it every other month, every other month,
Yeah,
so.
okay, well, I commend you for that. It's a great idea. I'm glad you had some folks there. It's wonderful.
That's all that I have for you, anything from me?
Yes, I think we did have
Republicans.
something that we wanted to ask you. Oh,
So, yes, the camper on South Street
oh,
is
the
gone.
camper that
Camper,
that
yeah.
I don't know if
morphed into
you've noticed though, that remember, it's the same vehicle, the same truck as last year.
Correct.
There's got to be some advertising that's blacked out on the side of it, so. Did the lieutenant, was he able to get rid of it, or did it move before he?
I don't
talked
know, I
about
don't
it?
know,
So,
so,
the truck showed up, I don't know, a little less than 24 hours
I
later.
know.
so. We thought we had it clear, but.
Yeah, so there's that to deal with, and then we are sending a letter and referring, and saying that you would be following up, I think, and notifying about the gutter on Main Street. Is it, talk to Caroline, we've copied you, you'll get a
Okay.
copy of the letter.
okay.
The rain
It's
gutter
a-
sticking
it's
out
another-
into the, literally into the sidewalk.
Same,
Hanging
same
over it.
ordinance about safety of public ways.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's-
okay.
And client services, so Caroline said that you were expecting that the accounting for the detailed work that was being done here through Pike would happen the same way we did last year.
That's correct.
So last year we did that, it was a little kludgy because we had grossly under budgeted account detail. So my preference is to have it come out of contracted services. Do you have is there a reason, is there
Well, I just thought that because we're using non-police folks to do some of them details, we'd be like last year that,
we're using
that was,
non-police folks?
you know, we're using firefighters and highway guys for details over there, certified flaggers.
So it's not police detail then? Go ahead,
Well,
finish your
right.
thought, finish your thought.
You know, last year, but it was on my impression, at least at the end, that the money didn't come out of the contracted services for the Bay Road project, that it came out someplace else, another line item or something like that.
Right, because
So-
we had grossly under
Correct.
budgeted, so that is correct. But if it's police contracted services, we should be paying them out of police contracted services, in my estimation. And if we come at the end of the year, and, we can re-budget somewhere else, which is what we did to help that line out. But we won't be in the pickle the extent of the pickle will be nowhere near, I think, what it was last year, where we were like tens of thousands, I think, under budgeted.
I mean, that works, it's gonna come out of somewhere, so.
It's gonna come out of
As long as the
somewhere.
money's coming back.
But the
yeah.
advantage is that we'll know that we may need to budget more, additional
bit more next
funding
year,
for
Yeah,
that line.
yes, so when
Yeah.
we account for where our expenditures are, we're better able to budget the following year.
Right.
And that's.
And I do
that's
understand that it's not a police detail, I understand the logic, it's just, it makes it difficult.
Because you're really self-funding that, it's, you know what I mean, in the long run. Because
Where else would it come?
we don't charge Pike what we do everybody else. We charge them a reduced rate because you just.
Well,
Our
I tell you what,
Right, you're getting
maybe
it like
Caroline didn't explain it well, and,
Yeah.
this hour of the evening, and I've got other things on my mind. Have another chat with her, and if it seems like a good idea to her, then maybe she can explain it to the board and, from an accounting perspective, not from any other way, just accounting
We don't have
wise.
an outstanding bill then that we're worried about in the next week then? That we know?
From Pike, no,
Of course, not that.
no, they haven't said anything yet, so we've got time to.
Yeah, I anticipate they'll be out there probably next week as well,
Yeah.
this week and next week, so
Yeah,
you
so-
won't receive anything for a while.
Okay.
Maybe I'm misunderstanding, maybe I'm not thinking properly, but definitely if it's police detail, then it should come out of the contracted services line. But if they're flaggers, they're working through you, this is where it gets murky. I
Yeah,
don't,
they are, yeah.
I'm-
Because I couldn't film with my folks, we
Right.
reached out to the fire department, said we need some folks who are certified to help out, because we're not meeting what Jeff wants down there.
Right.
So,
That's true, because when I went to Foundry Street last week when they were doing the drainage work, there was a firefighter.
and that's fine, but, when I look at the number for
want
contracted
it to be
services,
just
I
yours.
wasn't thinking, town of Rollins said, okay, they've got 2 projects, for the following year, you know what I mean? So,
Well,
but certainly we can leave it as it is, take it out of contracted services, and at the end of the year, reevaluate it.
Okay.
And next year, keep in mind, what's the town of Rollins is gonna be doing next year, so we may have to add a little more to that line item.
I think that would be a good thing to do.
Yeah. In
Okay?
the long run, makes it a lot easier for everybody, I guess, so.
Yes. Okay, perfect, thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else? Did we do the, yes, we mentioned the gutter contractors, okay, I think we're good,
I just request a non-public for a
okay,
employee issue.
all right.
Can we, because we're gonna go to non-public at the end of the meeting.
Oh, let's do
Do you mind if we
any
get your
more community input.
I got a follow-up question on that. I'd like to have you check with Jeff to see if that culvert was one that we were gonna do later, or was one that was scheduled. That's the only question.
All right, we don't know that,
No,
we may follow up with that.
that's all I asked.
Okay,
I think that'd be better.
Nancy?
I had asked last week about 77 Rollins and 41 Rollins. there's been work being done on both of those properties as well.
One of those did not rise to the threshold level. I don't remember which one, but
The
according
path,
to,
what, you putting in pavers?
I don't remember
I
which
don't know,
one.
which one. Tom went over,
Yeah,
right?
Tom went over.
Okay.
Pavers sound familiar, but I
Yeah.
don't.
Celia?
In regards to dog waste, I know you were thinking about reaching out to
4-H.
4-H. You might wanna have a conversation with Jody to possibly bring to the rec committee too, because we recently got an email to help map out Scotland and stuff. And there had been discussion in the past about us putting out sunscreen, I don't know, self-serve sunscreen dispensers in area parks. And if we're gonna do that, we might put up dog
Things.
thingies at the
Well,
same time.
it's a commitment, because somebody has to empty them, that's the problem. If you're going to have a container to collect them, someone has to sort of monitor them pretty faithfully. So,
It's just a discussion to have all around.
yeah, yeah,
Indeed.
all right, thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, so I will move that we go into non-public session for the purposes of personnel issue, followed by abatement issue.
Yes, it's not abatement, it's a
Oh, veterans tax credit.
tax credit. All right, I will second that and ask for a roll call. Michael?
Yes.
Suzanne, yes. As soon as our camera equipment